got to this point where I just became fed up. I became fed up with waiting for people to have time for me. There's certain lessons we're all meant to learn that get us to that point, and there's no way we're gonna learn those lessons in the same way. So yeah, if you do struggle with mental health, but you do want to solo travel, like travel the world, what I would recommend is, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week we are not doing a vlog. As much as I wanted to go into town and like record another day in the life, or you know, spend a day with me type of video, I am a little bit sick, but at the same time I am inspired to make another video, you know. And the kind of thought that came to mind was, what was it that led me to start solo traveling? You know, that's something that I had been thinking about for a few days now. At first, it was just like a simple thought. I was just kind of like recalling like what were like the events that led to me planning that first trip. But then I kind of realized that there's something like deeper behind it. You know, I kind of realized that I literally went from someone who had social anxiety, who really struggled like making friends, like meeting new people, and the idea of like solo travel was just unimaginable to Jacob last year. And yet somehow I did it. You know, somehow I managed to book my first trip, go on my first trip, and it was an incredibly humbling experience. Like, I always say this to people, but like, solo travel will humble you. Like, if you think you're confident, if you think you have like a lot of like self-confidence, go solo travel right now, and we'll talk after that. Because it is a very humbling experience, you know, going to a place that has a different language, a different culture. Like, it is you feel lost, you feel like you are not in control when you solo travel for the first time, and it can be scary, you know. And it was scary when I first did it, but yeah, it just like really, this like thought of like, what was it actually that led me to solo travel? This little thought has just been circulating in my mind, so I kind of want to explore that in this video. This is definitely going to be a kind of more laid back, like chill, conversational type of video. So if that is your cup of tea, then stick around. If it's not, then you are welcome to view the rest of my amazing videos on this channel. I have some vlogs, I have some self-improvement content, and I also do a lot of shorts, so check that out too. But going back to like, what was it actually that led me to go on my first solo trip? I have to go all the way back to the beginning of last year. So I feel like at the beginning of last year was when I really started to think about like what I want to do with, I guess, my life. Like, what is the thing that I'm like passionate about and I want to pursue and like see where it goes. And for some reason I was led to making videos, you know. And it's so funny because this hadn't been something that I've done in the past. You know, I wasn't like recording my life, I wasn't even like journaling, I wasn't doing any form of self-expression back then. But for some reason I felt like I wanted to record myself, you know, even though I was this like anxious person, this person who was afraid of even like going into a shop, you know. Like at one point that's where my social anxiety was, you know. But for some reason I felt very drawn to express myself through video. And at the time I had been going to therapy, so I was already kind of like working on my self-confidence and self-belief. I guess the thing that really led me to make videos in the first place was this feeling that a lot of us have, you know. We all want to feel like we're heard and understood. We all want to, you know, have this little like community of people who understand us, who relate to us. And I felt that there was something within me that could do that, you know. There was a part of me that could connect with people, that could form this sort of like presence online. And I still believe that that person exists, you know, even though some days he gets a little bit in his head. Yes. So yeah, I started last year by making these little videos. I bought my first camera and I just started to record every day, and I tried again and again, and it was honestly a very grueling process because I would get so frustrated that I wasn't able to just make videos and that they just wouldn't like pour out of me. You know, I thought that all of the big YouTubers, when they started, like they were able just to press record on the camera button and things would just flow out. But listen, but the thing that I had to learn was that everyone's journey is different. You know, everybody's path to creating their dream art, their dream videos is different, and it's meant to be different because there's certain lessons we're all meant to learn that get us to that point, and there's no way we're going to learn those lessons in the same way, you know. So I think I've kind of just started to embrace the path. But the more I made these videos, I realized that it was helping with my confidence, you know? I was able to kind of communicate what I was feeling better, so I kept doing that. So I already had this sort of like groundwork going into planning my first solo trip. But what really led me to want to like travel by myself was the simple notion of that I was fed up. I was fed up with waiting, you know? I feel like I've always been someone who has longed to travel, to see the world, to explore. Like, honestly, the times that I've done it, I felt the most alive. And I've wanted to replicate that feeling of just like seeing a place for the first time, exploring a place for the first time. And I felt like the only way that I was going to be able to travel was if I had this big group of friends. Like, the idea of solo travel was so far away from the person that I was at the time. And yet I wanted it so bad, you know, and I got to this point where I just became fed up. I became fed up with waiting for people to have time for me, to make the time for me. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, you know? And I think I reached sort of this like boiling point, and I feel like this happens to a lot of people. Like, if something is meant for you, but you're running away from it, it is going to try to catch you. Let me tell you, like this is why I truly believe that the things that are meant for you, because I do believe that me going on that first solo trip was meant to happen. And I kept putting it off, like saying to myself, like, oh, I'm gonna need to have this big group of friends. But then at one point I did just get fed up, and I decided to book my first solo trip to Vienna, to Austria. That was my first place that I went to, and it all happened really quickly. You know, I remember at the time I was still dealing with depression, and there was days where I would feel happy and confident and excited, and then days where I would spiral into like negative thoughts and I wouldn't be able to like get out of bed, you know. So I remember at the time I used one of those days where I was feeling like excited and like open to book this trip. You know, I remember I was at my parents' house and I just sort of went for it. You know, I booked my tickets, I booked my Airbnb, and I remember booking like a tour, and it just felt right, you know? It felt like this thing that was trying to catch up to me finally caught me, you know, and was like, okay, we're doing this. You're finally doing this thing you were meant to do, you know? I remember just being excited, but I also had this feeling of like disbelief, like, am I actually going to do this? I feel like anyone who tries to sell you this idea that your first solo trip will be this like perfect, like perfectly planned out thing is lying to you. Yes, they are. I feel like everyone's experience will be different, and it really depends on how much you have traveled in the past. You know, like if this is not only your first solo trip but your first trip in general, like it will be overwhelming, you know. And I think I said this in one of my shorts where you need to start small, you know. And I think that's also what I did before I booked my solo trip. Was I was already going to places around my city, you know. I was doing these little like day trips where I would just like leave for the day. I would spend the whole day like in the mountains or like at the seaside, like just like simple little trips that kind of got me accustomed to the idea of traveling, you know, and like spending a day with myself. I used to not enjoy my own company, but I felt like through learning how to solo travel, I actually ended up really enjoying kind of just like being by myself and like figuring out things that make me happy, you know, things that make me enjoy my day. So yeah, booking this first solo trip, it was something that I had thought about for a while, you know. It was in the back of my mind, and I truly felt that a lot of the preparing for it I was doing mentally even before I booked my tickets or my Airbnb. So then when it actually came to booking it, I kind of did it all in one go. Like I didn't think too much about it, which is something that I have been doing for a lot of solo trips. I feel like if you spend hours on Airbnb, if you spend hours trying to pick out your tickets, you're just gonna end up overthinking it and like not actually booking the trip. So yeah, if you do struggle with mental health, but you do want to solo travel, like travel the world, what I would recommend is if you are having a good day, if you are having like a day where you're like, okay, I feel good, I feel confident, like that is when you book the trip, and don't second guess it, just book the trip. And I feel like something that I didn't understand at the time before I booked my first solo trip was that a lot of people solo travel. Like it's a very common thing, and I feel like there's Airbnbs, there's places around the world that are literally designed for solo travelers. Like people who host these like Airbnb houses, they're used to it. They're used to people coming in by themselves, going on like either business trips, like holiday trips. Like they're used to solo travelers. So people will accommodate for you. They will help you out. You know, there's always going to be someone there for you. But the main thing is you have to be open to it, you know. And I really felt like with my first solo trip, I was not open, you know, and I wasn't meant to be, because I needed to go on that first solo trip to learn a lot of these lessons. So yeah, guys, this has been my little video. I have no idea if I'm gonna like edit this and post this, but I do want to make more just conversational, like chill, laid back videos where I don't like plan anything and it's just like me just like talking my shit. Honestly, like I've been dreaming of these kind of videos. Like when I tell you, like last year I literally had a vision that I would be making videos like this where I'm just like talking, and these were the videos that are going to get me my audience, my people, you know. So I want to keep doing this. I want to keep making little videos where I just talk, and you guys are definitely going to be getting some vlogs from me very soon. I have booked my next trip, so that's going to be a whole thing. I'm hoping I'm definitely going to like film there, vlog there, so I'm not going to announce where I'm going just yet. I'll keep that a little mystery until the vlog goes up. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments what else you want to see from me. And yes, I have been holding this wide tooth comb this entire video because it's my little stress toy. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.